Shout out from Sayulita. What up, SonarFeed? Bienvenidos a SonarFeed. Episode 235. Abuelo Dempsey takes us to Guadalajara. Woo!
Mics are on. Good evening, gentlemen.
Oh, hey, Adam.
Oh, hey.
Oh,
What's
hey.
going on?
Fuck you, Ugo.
For real, though.
Anyway, Ugo is enjoying life in a really big way down in Sayulita for a couple of days before heading over to Guadalajara. Good for him. So
Is
welcome.
he going over tomorrow?
No one knows. I think they're all going back over on Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
I mean, maximize your beach time, right?
Yeah, slide that way. Just a hair.
What if I don't want to?
Just get closer to Mark.
Dude, I showered this morning.
Hi,
good,
Mark.
Good job, y'all.
Hi, Tom.
Anyway,
You know, if you slide
welcome
your
to.
computer, it doesn't change the angle.
I do understand that, Mark. What were we doing again? Oh, SonarFeed,
Yes.
episode 235. Abuelo Dempsey takes us to Guadalajara.
How come it isn't all in Spanish?
Do you want to? I don't know. Ugo made it up. So before we dig into the show, Adam, do you want to tell us the origin of this episode?
Sure. So I'm going to take my headphones off because it's like a split-second delay in my
That's a
ears.
cool
and
look.
It really messes me up. So on Sunday, we were all surrounded by Chivas fans. Even
I wasn't.
ECS.
Same.
ECS was. Just nobody in ECS, but the entire ECS section was completely surrounded by Chivas fans everywhere in the stadium.
Good job, Gorilla.
Yeah. So anyway, there was a group of Chivas fans behind us, and
Did you see that shade just come over?
Do you want to tweet?
it got dark all of a sudden. Anyways, there was a group of Chivas fans behind us, and one of the older gentlemen kept leaning down and go, "I like Dempsey, but he's a grandpa. I like Dempsey, but he's a grandpa." And then he started calling him. Say it again. I cannot. Abuelo. He's an abuelo. But he was saying it in English and then going back and forth between English and Spanish. And then Dempsey missed. And then he leaned down and he's like, "See, he's a grandpa. And then, what was it, a minute later, 2 minutes later, he scores. And I go, "Grandpa Dempsey!" And he comes over and he gives me a big ol' hug. It was actually pretty sweet. There it is. I was standing next to Emily, and he's like, take a picture. And he's leaning on me from above, and like, yeah, it was pretty heavy.
It's a good look for Adam right there.
Anyway, that's where that comes from.
Did you guys hang out all night after that?
No, he was gone.
I would
mean,
never have guessed
Yeah, he was pretty
that
wasted.
anyone was inebriated.
Yeah. Well, the best part was what I assume was probably his grandson or something, jumped down and tore open his Chivas jacket or whatever it was that he had on. He had Sounders jersey underneath it, and he comes up and he's like, "Yeah," gives me a big old hug too right after the goal and everything. It was
So that guy was either way, he was going to walk out happy.
like Hugo,
Yeah,
happy no matter what.
it's cool. Anyway, so that's a good story.
Yes.
So welcome to episode 235 of SonarFeed here from the lovely Berliner with some lovely weather. It's probably, 60-something-ish?
Let's go with 69.
Nice. So it's March 12th, 2018. We have a fun crowd here. Apparently I missed the fun crowd last week, which we'll talk about a little bit later. God is still watching us in the chat, apparently. But anyway, got a few things to talk about here tonight. Obviously, since last week's show, we had that CCL match.
Yup.
1-0 versus the vaunted Chivas. A little bit of S2 over the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Some player travel, which we can talk about. Well, let's talk about it right now because it's funny. Mentioning Clint Dempsey, a little bit earlier today, someone had tweeted about the players being on their flight as they were, I guess, connecting through Dallas. And this gentleman thought that he was pretty stealthy, but nope. Clint Dempsey busted him out with a big soon in the corner of his photo. You're having way too much fun with that now.
I really am.
So, anyway, players were on the move. It looks like there's I think everybody except 2 or 3 players. It sounds like Morris, Alonso, and maybe one other.
Morris didn't make it?
Morris did not
Too soon?
did not make it. Too soon. Actually, too soon. Victor Rodriguez, I think, was the other that aren't participating in training at the moment. So that's good news. So that happened. And I don't know. There's lots of stuff outside of Sounders land that's happened in the last week, but we had like the Mexican news media is pretty damn pissed off.
Oh yeah,
which was pretty fun.
I saw that.
So three MLS sides,
magazine cover,
3 MLS sides. What was it? The record had "It's insulting and unacceptable" on the front, and it was when Dempsey had kind of run over and like went over and did the shh to the Chivas fans the other night, which is fantastic.
Yes.
So CCL's fun. I think we all know CCL was going to be fun, no matter what. I think the Chivas thing presented an interesting challenge, given the amount of Chivas fans, frankly, in any soccer city in this country, let alone in Seattle specifically. But why don't we dig in there? So that was what, Thursday, Wednesday? I can't even keep track anymore. Wednesday night last week.
Right.
It feels like
a
long time ago.
Feels like a long time.
So a good attendance. What was it, in the 40s? Somewhere in that ballpark?
Yeah, I didn't see the final.
I think it was somewhere in the 40,000 ballpark. Pretty significant Chivas presence.
I've never been to a game outside of the States.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that that's close to like what most other markets experience, where the away fans are close in number to, or at least in volume.
I gotta say that was an electric atmosphere.
It was pretty cool. And
I enjoyed that.
You know, there were a few things that had gone on. Who was it? Lara Hodo, I think, was in the section early on, sometime between 6 and 7, and was like, "Okay, ECS, you got your work cut out for you tonight."
Oh yeah,
because you never really know what was going to happen. The actual travel section in the upper corner on the far end was pretty significant at that point. But, you know, obviously not sparse, but strewn about the entire stadium were Chivas fans at 6:20, let alone 7 o'clock. And, I think you never really knew what you're going to get. Weekdays are hard. Yep. That did not look too far from what the tickets or the announced attendance was.
It was really
looked
full.
Pretty darn close to what was actually there, like just having seen the full stadiums before.
Right.
I mean, even Hawks Nest was pretty packed in there,
and very red and white,
which was cool. You know, I mean, would I have loved a lot less people to have sold their tickets?
Of course.
Yep. But again, not everybody can go every night.
You think that do you think that most of the Chivas fans either aren't season ticket holders already or bought their tickets from season ticket holders?
I think a little bit of everything.
I would have called it like maybe a 60-40. No, maybe more. 70-30.
I would say 70-30. The people bought tickets, flipped them. Like they bought flip tickets of the Chivas fans.
So 70%.
I would say there's probably 30-ish% of the Chivas fans there probably own Sounders tickets. So as much as everybody wants to make the argument about secondary market and people making money, I know people who have GA tickets that are Chivas fans.
Right.
So, we know a few of them personally, but I'm saying beyond Ugo.
One of them isn't allowed to be here today.
Beyond Ugo, there are quite a few people, though, who their first team is probably Chivas.
Right.
And they happen to live here, so they have Sounders tickets because they want to go. Frankly, you're rarely ever going to see Chivas.
I guess my question was more, do you think that there were more people who bought secondhand tickets versus there's a lot of open seats in a general game?
Don't know. Okay. I don't know. I talked to Sounders front office about some other things a week or two earlier, and they had said we're selling a lot of tickets.
Yeah.
So I think they
That's
had they had a pretty significant expectation that
Right.
their singles were going to go. So much so that they didn't sell any extra GAs that weren't sold.
Right.
So they specifically didn't want to put them out there because they knew they'd either get flipped or they'd get purchased by Chivas fans, and that's obviously
And then they
not
wouldn't
something.
be able to.
Well, and then they'd
Yeah.
have to reseat people anyway. You
Right.
just don't want to be in that position.
Right.
So
I have a slight tangent on that.
yes, Mark.
Kyle and I had a
Kyle.
Shields. Had
Pizza
a,
Kyle.
Pizza Kyle. Had a
Pizza
good
Kyle.
conversation on our way to doing Tifo setup. And it was discussions of, sort of things we want to see in the future, just in general with fan base and getting more folks from the other side of the mountains over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this being a prime example of you're going to attract people from the dry side of the state that wouldn't normally come over for a game.
Yeah.
Just in
Yes.
general, because they want to see a club that maybe they grew up with, that was their first team. It's a reason to come over here
Right.
to, see your club play in Seattle. And we talked about, holy shit, if they had just organized a bus or two
Yeah.
or 8.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I know it's really hard because it's such
Well, it's hard
short
and it's
notice.
expensive, and there's a million things going involved in that. It's funny because over the weekend we're driving around and actually had crossed the pass and had this very conversation in the car, and I was like, "Look, I know it's expensive, but doing one bus it'd be a good experiment. You probably need to do 3 or 4 for it to start to either make money or
Right.
feel like
Fair
you've
enough.
made a dent." But I don't know, for like 1 or 2 o'clock Saturday games, I think you could get people on a bus
Absolutely.
in Yakima or in Tri-Cities or something like that. You know, the bus needs to leave at 8 in the morning, probably.
Well, and we
But
talked too.
I think you could do that.
Yeah.
Give them a free match ticket, and you only have to pay for the bus ride.
Right. And then it's whatever,
And
40 bucks or something.
take you to Sounders Partner Bar.
I think it's a great idea, ultimately. And, I think that Kyle's having some conversations, and some other folks. We've actually had a bunch of discussions about this in ECS kind of private channels this week. It is a hot topic, and I think there were a ton of wow. There were a ton of takes, hot or otherwise, on the Twitters after the match. But frankly, there were a lot of really, really valid points made, and it was more of like, hey guys, people don't go to friendlies. They skip CCL when they've gotten the tickets in the past, and you got 40,000. Like, even if people flip their tickets, or they happen to be Chivas fans, and
Yeah, that was a CCL record.
like that's a
Wow.
like
For
on a
MLS.
weeknight. Look at Open Cup in MLS arenas, or look at other CCL matches. There's like 10,000 people at these matches. There were 10,000 Chivas fans there.
Yeah.
Let
It's-
alone
I think, our discussion was it's an untapped market.
Maybe
Yeah.
we should just stop doing friendlies with any European teams and only do it with Liga MX teams.
you don't want to play Eintracht Frankfurt every year.
No.
It would make Lee Rail real happy, though.
Oh, yeah.
He would be all over that.
You'd get.
No, I still think-
you'd fill the stadium.
One of the
easier.
best friendlies we had was against Cholos before the last time we were in, because it was relevant to preparing to go into being, still in our preseason and going up against teams that are in full swing.
Yeah.
Right.
It was good. All in all, atmosphere. We could just talk about the atmosphere
It was
for a while.
fantastic. It was. yeah.
Any time that they started doing their Chivas chant, and Heather was on the money.
It was funny. The boos,
Yeah.
or the people trying to shout down, and it's one of those tricky things. Like, it's real hard to actually shout people down, but it was like 20,000 people booing, people cheering, and like, I want you. If there's going to be that many opposing fans in a house, you want them to be, have some vigor.
Yeah.
I could go without the goalkeeper
Yes.
Yes.
kick chance.
That's very unfortunate.
It
But
really was.
other than that,
Hey, Hugo's watching.
well, that's fun.
Hugo, fuck you.
Nice
From a
hat.
distance.
He says nice hat.
Oh, thank you, Hugo. Your hat is terrible. My hat is great.
He hasn't called any of us yet, so he's doing better than us. Because we probably would have called like 5 times.
He also probably doesn't have a Grover cake.
It was Cookie,
Cookie Monster, whatever.
Anyway, we are never going to get over this.
Okay.
We were super drunk at the grocery store.
Tom and I.
Which grocery store?
The Lay, L-E-Y.
Some other adults decided that Tom and I should be the ones to go to the grocery
It was
store.
great. We actually got all the things we needed. Also, a Cookie Monster cake.
And hot dog buns.
And hot dog buns. No hot dogs, just the buns. And then we were all excited to eat the Cookie Monster cake, and a certain other ECS member
Dropped it.
slipped on the roof near the pool jacuzzi thing and ate it on the roof, and cake was just everywhere. So, needless to say, no Cookie Monster grocery store cake for us.
We should start calling him Blue Frosting.
Also, we should actually. Stephanie Steiner points out, you guys drunk in a grocery store? Who could imagine that? Sounds about right.
Even better was the cab ride.
You mean the first couple cabs that didn't want to take
Yeah.
us? Yeah, they were like, I'm not driving up that hill. And we were like, what the hell? We just got groceries. Anyway.
They're like, I got 3 cylinders.
So that actually was pretty close to what it was. He's in an Uber from Sayulita to Puerto Vallarta right now. That sounds rough, Hugo. I do not.
Hey, Hugo. How's it going?
Not as rough as the city bus.
We have Hugo.
What up, boy?
I don't know that anybody else can hear you besides me. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Watching you guys look great. Sorry I couldn't be there.
He says you guys look great.
Thanks, Hugo.
Hi.
How's
Thanks,
your-
Hugo.
How's your tan going?
No, even Mark looks great with
Even
that hat.
Mark looks great with that hat. How's your tan? Did you ask me how his tan was?
Yeah.
How's your tan?
Do you have any tan lines?
Doing great, man.
Any tan lines? Tom wants to know if you have any tan lines.
Dave says that they can barely hear him.
They can barely hear you. All right. Hugo.
I do have tan lines.
You know, if you take it off speakerphone, you can...
Shut up.
Yeah.
But I can't hear him if I take it off speakerphone. I've done this before.
You're a professional?
I've never done it like with a phone call. It's been like with a Skype or something.
He's never done it before.
He has 4 children!
4 children. All right, Hugo. We're going to let you go. Thanks
Are
for
they his?
calling, man.
All of them?
Drive
Thanks.
safe. Well, tell your Uber guy drive safe. All right, man. Bye. That didn't work.
Because, of course, when in Puerto Vallarta, dial into SonarFeed.
Naturally.
The best is just watching you pick up the phone. I just caught up to that right now. We'll move on.
Okay.
Anyway,
Moving on.
that was fun. So we were talking about atmosphere. Was electric. We've all, I think, covered off on that. Match-wise, that was super fun to watch.
It was a very competitive match.
Yeah, and I think that while we saw like a tale of two halves, frankly, in both games, but LAFC was 2 different games,
Yes.
really. This was like adaptation throughout, but it's kind of interesting to see Sounders like clearly focusing on CCL.
Yeah.
Some interesting things on the left side. Seeing Waylon Francis out there, some changes, things that are different year over year, which is pretty cool. Lodero and Roldan, like, I want to see the stats, like, when you watch on TV at home, and they're like, oh, so and so ran 10 kilometers in this match. That was like the first half for Roldan,
He was everywhere.
like actually everywhere.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see. Yeah.
He was, yeah.
Well, I mean, dude wants it.
Yeah.
So,
He played 3 games in a row.
We're gonna make
in
a-
3 games in, what, 7 days?
yeah. Let's make a list
Yeah.
of players who want a captain's armband.
Yes.
And we're going to start with Christian Roldan. And
Yes.
not that other people don't deserve it that are on the team, but like, wow. Talk about a guy that you're like, yep, he's getting one of those at some point.
Yeah.
But like, that was pretty cool to watch. I have my, not fears, but I think you want to be wary about like that left side having to be all the offense and it just needing to be like speed, dump and chase, and like those kinds of things. But other than that, fun to watch. Stefan Fry on his head as usual, which was fantastic. Angry Dempsey. That guy's pretty neat to watch.
Yeah, you saw him get wound up really early.
And,
I think it was
and
like
there
4
was
minutes
like
in. I'm like, he's already pissed.
There were people in the section near me, and they're like, "Oh, we need Dempsey doing this. We need Dempsey doing this." And I was like, "Okay, I can see that." Like, he was kind of not involved, but he's throwing around back heels like they're his job in the middle of run a play, and then he scored that goal, and you're like, "Okay."
Grandpa Dempsey.
You're like, that was interesting. Yeah. And then the miss that he had shortly thereafter.
After or before? There was
one
that was right
after, and you could see he was kind of on the ground, just like on his back, sort of with that, like, that should have been in for sure look. But, man, Angry Dempsey, let's keep that guy.
I would like to sign him.
He's okay
for the rest of the season. He
Mark's
wasn't
like,
alone.
Mark's on Twitter. He's like, let me check some things out.
Mark, have you tweeted the link to the SonarFeed show while you're on Twitter? Good.
I have.
Good.
So, all in all, again, victories are victories. You're going to feel good about them. But leaving that game, you change the dynamic of how the score sheet's going to fall away. So, no away goals for Chivas.
Yay.
Makes you feel really good about the situation. There's definitely some like mental stuff in the head of the There's definitely some mental stuff in the heads of the Mexican sides right now.
Right.
For sure. Like, it's on the front page of the newspaper. I mean, what was it? Sounder at Heart tweeted like the next day, and they were like, meanwhile in Guadalajara, and the newspaper was like, should the coach be fired after that match?
Really?
And you're like, really? Like, that's where you guys are at right now?
Over the weekend.
I have no idea. Did they win?
They did win.
Yeah.
Against a team that's, I think, lower than them.
Yeah, well, there's only like two of them.
Yeah. What are they, 16 of 18?
Yeah.
Heard that chant. That was a good one.
Oh, what the hell was with them coming out of the locker room at the second half?
Like 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and notice that nothing has happened, even though there is a specific rule.
There's a fee. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is CONCACAF. And heaven forbid we talk about the multiple probable penalties. I haven't rewatched the whole thing, so I didn't see. The first one, I was like, that's a penalty. But whatever. Like, you almost just don't even want them in CONCACAF. Like, just don't give anyone penalties, ever.
Because everyone will be suspended if they're following the rules.
What are rules?
Yeah. CONCACAF.
Guidelines.
Yeah, more like guidelines.
But their guy is suspended.
It's like the yellow signs when you're on the highway, and it's like 50, and I'm like, oh, that's just a suggestion. Like, I don't have to go 50.
How they manage to actually suspend their guy is the question.
That will never happen, probably ever.
No, but yellow card accumulation. One of their guys
They have
suspended.
just one?
Yeah.
Good.
He got 2 yellow cards.
I actually
I don't know
thought
if anybody
that
can hear what the conversation is going on.
apparently there were 2 yellow cards issued to a Chivas player in CCL so far.
Okay.
Got it. Missed what you were saying. I really thought that Torres was going to get a second yellow.
Oh.
And because he knew he was burned, and he went in and, like, touched the guy.
And CONCACAF happened.
And then their entire team was like, give him the second yellow. Like, you saw it from the other end of the stadium, and you're like, no.
Right.
And thankfully, that didn't happen. But, going into Guadalajara aside, Sounders should feel pretty good because it's not just that Sounders are in the heads of the Chivas team. MLS is in the head.
Oh, right.
The
Liga MX, yeah.
Yeah, their league is in their heads. The national, spotlight is in their heads right now.
Yep.
And that sometimes works out really well. For teams, they're like, oh, you play on national television and you turn into stars. But sometimes you flame out miserably.
Then there was that time we played Santos Laguna.
Let's not.
Ouch.
Let's not rehash that right
Don't
now.
relive that one.
You pull up their stadium and see what it looks like.
Oh, what is the stadium called?
What's this stadium called?
It was OmniLife, but it's not.
This is good television.
It's Estadio Akron.
This is Tom Googling.
So it's literally
Welcome,
nowhere
Tom
near
Googling.
downtown Guadalajara. As Sean Wheeler likes to call it. Well, no, I'm not going to go there
Okay.
because it's like our entire city is guilty of it.
Okay.
So
God.
How far away is it?
So like
not close.
This is the city here,
Yeah.
right?
Nobody
So
can
it is
see what-
like I know.
Describe
Da-
to the viewers at home what
It
you're
is.
looking at.
I'm just going to put like where the catedral is. So near from
It's a
the
map.
stadium to the
Guadalajara.
cathedral.
To the cathedral. You can hear him. I don't know why I'm
Yeah, I don't understand what you're doing.
I'm adding more flavor to
It is
your-
15 kilometers, 24 minutes in a car.
So is that
From town.
further than when we traveled from Condesa to?
I'm not
Dave
sure.
said it's in Akron, Ohio.
Yes.
Nice. So it is not close to town. So like where Atlas, the other team in town,
Yes.
plays, is kind of like in town. You could get to it or take a quick taxi or walk to it, depending on what neighborhood you're in. It is like I remember driving into Guadalajara from Puerto Vallarta, and you see it off to the right. I guess it's to your, I guess to the north of where you were, or to the east of where you were,
Right.
and it's like not near town. Like there just looks to be a lot of space in between the city proper and there. And when you ask people about it, like asking taxi drivers and stuff, they're like, yeah, it's not convenient, but it might be the same. But Mexico City has a completely different transit system than
Yeah.
Guadalajara, so it's a slightly different animal.
How many people are going? Do we know?
I knew of about 20
Are we going to be able
as
to
of
fill half the stadium?
20 as of yesterday.
So not half the stadium.
Well, 20 as of yesterday, 20 ECS members for sure that I knew
close.
of. And again, like you purchased the ticket on basically a week's notice.
Yeah.
And
Unless
I,
you were
Hugo.
Heather and Hugo,
Heather
who
and
had
Hugo
vacations
purchased
planned.
their tickets, purchased their vacations early. Hugo was a lot more about the I'm going to specifically go for this. Heather was, I think, doing I'm going on vacation. Oh, and there happens to be a game that I could get to.
Oh darn!
Mark, you've been
Summoned.
requested that you stop eating your fingernails.
Sorry, Mom.
Did you say beating your fingernails? Eating.
Who said that?
Stephanie.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Oh, wow. JJ said so it's next to the Denver airport. That's pretty wonderful. Dave, turns out with that teams with 100-year histories can be in the burbs. You probably won't have any fingers left, by the way, if you keep eating them, so don't do that.
It's the bath salts.
So,
What else is going on? What else
let's
happened
talk
this
about
weekend?
last week. So at the game versus LAFC,
Oh, yes.
I got introduced to a certain significant individual in Seattle sports lore.
Right.
And yeah, and I was like, "Oh, hey, do you guys want to come on the show tomorrow?" And they were like,
this is last Sunday at
"Maybe
yeah.
we could do that." And I was like, "Cool, we'll talk later." And then they came on the show, and I was sick and went home from work and missed the show.
You missed the show.
So
And it was fantastic. It was a
it
great
seems
show.
like it went okay.
It was a, yeah.
I have watched it, but I didn't get to see
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
Almost broke, like literally almost.
He was sitting there like,
So for
whole
those that may not
Yes.
have viewed, what should they go back and check into
All of
that
it.
that big Walt? Yeah,
definitely the whole thing, but as you watch, you'll notice that I think there was a point where he walked in, both of them, but walked in and saw what our setup is, and it was kind of like a, what the hell did you get me into moment? But then like 10, 15 minutes into the show,
I'm like that every night.
he just like let down his guard and started really getting into it. So it took him a little while to get going.
Yeah.
Once he saw it was just cool hanging out with guys and talking about
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was pretty cool.
I know. I saw comments from Max Aquino, and
Yep.
he was like, "I got to give Walt photography
Photo tips,
advice." That was weird. So that seems like you guys had a rough show last week.
It was very, very rough.
Yeah.
The best part was this obviously happened off camera, but there was a whole thing going on between Walt and Big Dave. As Walt walked in, before he got even up onto the deck here, Dave just stood up and goes, "All right, let's settle this." and Walt was like, "Is this guy going to try to kick my ass? What's going on?" But no, he just wanted to stand back to back and see who was taller. And it was Big Dave.
Yeah.
By a couple inches.
A little bit, right?
Maybe an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. Dave is a large individual.
It's his name,
Yeah.
Big Dave.
Yeah. It's like Big Walt, but
Yeah.
different. So it sounds like a miserable episode.
It was miserable.
Cool. So he's coming back on next week?
Only if you're sick.
Only if... Awesome.
He's our Tom fill-in.
Great. That's like a really good trade up. And I would take one for the team
Okay.
on occasion for that, I think. Oh, hey, Mark.
How
You made
doing-
it.
How you doing over there, Mark?
Have you met Mark? Have you
What's he
met
known
Mark's
for?
fingernails?
What fingernail?
And then there was this other bit in the news, and we have some funny stuff to go over, but there was this Greek Super League thing
Yeah.
that the owner of, what is it, PAOK,
It's not really funny.
rolled up on the field
Not funny, ha.
with a gun
I guess.
Don't you always roll up on the field strapping?
to,
As-
to
owner.
threaten the ref.
Right.
And he reportedly said something like, "You're dead," after
That's normal.
after having a goal disallowed for being offside.
I've seen all of the Sounders owners do that
Yeah.
at different times.
Not just Joe Roth.
Not all of them.
Great.
Open cup.
Where do you keep a gun in sweatpants?
I think he had a holster.
I'm unsure as to how to answer this question. I'm going to pass.
You said Joe
Pass. Pass faster, Adam.
And on we go. So
So there was that, and then there was another funny thing. Do we want to show the funny video or the other funny video? This one? Yeah, show that one.
okay.
Hey, Dora.
So
If
this
you
is-
guys didn't catch this, there was this puppy who got a life vest, and apparently it forgets how to puppy,
yeah.
which is awesome.
Dora.
You said something about this is like kind of how Portland is.
It's kind of like Portland versus FCD, which we also have footage of them. I'm sorry, versus Red Bulls, which we've got that as well. And if we watch this a couple more times, you'll notice that there's a player to the right of the screen
in the
whose
back.
mom's name is Linda.
Linda.
And Linda would not be proud about her son checking the two back post guys and then just jogging on in with them.
Yeah, Linda was
He
not-
runs about as fast as I
Linda
run.
is not.
Yeah,
pleased.
I can't decide what is actually funnier, this or the puppy who forgets how to puppy.
Hey, Dora.
But like the puppy, cute, falls on the ground.
Hey, Dora.
Ridgewell,
Carried around.
not cute,
Not cute.
By the way,
didn't fall, so that's good. That's in his favor.
Stephanie says those are designer dress sweats that Joe Roth wears.
So you're saying they could have a holster?
They might.
Okay. We're probably going to get a, what is it again? Slander if you say it out loud? Yeah. Let's
From
not
Cabela's?
get that. From Cabela's. Wow. I will bet you all of my future income that Joe Roth
Has never been inside
does
of a
not go to
Cabela's.
Cabela's. And that's all I'm going to say on that subject. So, vote in the comments. Puppy, Ridgewell. Puppy or Ridgewell.
Well, which is cuter or more pathetic?
So, let's talk about this week. Because we could talk about last week
Yes,
forever.
Yes.
He
So-
goes to Mexico.
Who goes to Mexico, and he's like, drinking
sun.
all sorts of stuff. If you check out
And
Ugo's Snapchats,
Yes.
all the apples with chili powder.
he is a fan.
That actually sounds really
He
tasty.
wants to make that happen.
That sounds tasty.
Yeah, they come in these like cute little foam things with like lime and salt or chili powder or whatever, and so the apples don't get damaged when they're like rolling around in the back seat of your car.
It's actually not why they wrap them, but okay.
It was a joke. Just because you work in produce, Mark.
Yes, Tom.
Anyway, he's just gonna blink at me. You have good eyelashes, though.
Well,
Thanks,
there was something else you want to talk about from this last weekend. The S2. Was that?
Oh my God, I'm totally blanking on it. S2 played Seattle.
Seattle U. Yes.
And I'm totally blanking on it. But the one S2 thing I did want to talk about was Sam Rogers apparently got called into 2 U.S. under-20 matches.
Nice.
So
awesome.
That's kind of cool.
That's
really
like,
cool.
please stop getting national team players. However, we're probably okay with them when they went to Ballard High.
Yes.
Like,
We can take that guy.
like Clint Dempsey on the national team, like it, but stop taking
but if we
our
have
players.
Our own homegrown.
That's kind of cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
So that's worked out okay
Yep.
for a previous other homegrown
Which-
player. That Yedlin guy.
Oh.
Yeah, he's decent.
He's all right.
He's okay.
Yeah.
Did you see that, like, right before he moved, he stopped with the, like, fun hair for a minute, and that was when you knew something was up. Like, if you go back and look, like, it's clearly, like, they probably were negotiating something, and he was, like, trying to, put a good foot forward, and now he's been out there a couple years, and dude is bringing it with the hair again. So he's, like, gotten back in a comfort zone, and he's like, I can do whatever I want. Check me out.
So I didn't watch the S2 SU game,
But
Bregel informs us that the match ended right before half because
that's right. The
out.
lights went out. I heard that there
Were
was
they playing at the SU field.
there was a large
Raccoon.
transformer explosion or something.
Because of raccoon. Maybe it was a wombat.
I'm gonna go with not a wombat.
Damn.
Raccoon, I could see, like, First Hill. There are like 6 trees. There could be a raccoon. I live in First Hill, so
Right.
I'm gonna say that I've seen animals that are of the size of raccoons that may or may not have been raccoons.
Do you know what raccoons look like, Tom?
I do, but
Okay.
it was dark,
Just wanted to make sure.
and I wasn't up close to them.
Okay.
Hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Mark's just like, I have comments, but I'm going to judge you.
You know what Kelly Weiler does every time I see her now? Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
All right.
Yes.
So Stephanie Steiner says, hashtag not a wombat.
Not a wombat. So, speaking of S2, this weekend, this Friday night,
So there's a big thing which we should spend a fair amount of
I
time
think we
talking
should.
about.
one of the reasons Dave's not here,
Yes, Dave has, as a grown-up,
as an
chosen
adult,
to prioritize life a little bit. And since he chooses to continue his wedded bliss,
right.
he will not be spending every night of the week doing some sort of Sounders-related thing,
It's fair.
which I understand. So Dave will be the color guy for S2,
Yep.
which is super cool.
One of 3 announcers is what I'm told,
Huge deal.
which is pretty awesome.
Huge deal for the Hire Dave Clark camp. No one
Yep.
knows if they're going to pay Dave Clark, but Dave Clark will be doing something.
Soccer-y.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with they're paying him something.
Well, he's doing something soccer-y too, but yeah.
One of the other things that I'm guessing this specific USL guy is not a person who watches this show. I was on a call with USL earlier this week, talking about the broadcast, and he told us that we have in Andrew one of the best play-by-play guys in all of USL.
Wow.
That's excellent.
Yeah, so he was really happy that they brought Andrew back. Then he proceeded to then tell me that Andrew was his intern at one point, so I think he might have been biased, but I'm still going to take it at face value. We have the best. So that's really cool.
It's pretty
Dave's
serious.
only going to make it better.
So Friday night, 7 p.m., Cheney Stadium,
Yes.
Timbers 2.
Yes.
90-minute
I mean, going hard.
90-minute
I
happy
could-
hour.
I
Where is
could
the
take
90-minute happy hour pregame?
Yes.
Where?
Stadium.
In the stadium.
I could take an Uber from work.
Yes, you could. I'm riding my bike.
How are you getting home, Tom?
I have no
There's
idea.
going to be a
They have
lot
a
of people.
T-shirt deal if you haven't purchased your tickets yet. Epic Gorilla.
I have a season ticket. Still. So I'm just peeking at the Sound at Heart story on this subject, and they're saying the expected crowd is bigger than could even fit into Starfire.
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty nuts.
Yeah,
great.
I'm going to be working with them this season. Helping
Oh, wait, so you have positive news?
I do. They asked me to come help produce the stream. The really nice thing is it won't be as involved as my previous jobs producing S2 stream. I basically can ride my bike down there. I don't have to rent a U-Haul and load all my gear and take it all there and spend 10 hours at Starfire. I can spend like 2 or 3 hours. Well, probably like 3 or 4 hours. But
Do you get to go to the happy hour?
I can. Ooh, I don't think it'd probably be a good idea for me to be happy
On your first day?
Happy houred.
Happy hour.
You could just get something and put it in like a collectible kid's cup.
Wouldn't it be more like happy full 90 minutes?
Nice.
Happy full 90. But anyway, so part of the deal that I
That's why you pay me the big
asked
bucks.
them was I asked specifically for tickets for my family so that my family can come to the games, and they said, yeah, that would not be a problem, but there's a chance that we won't have tickets for you for the first game.
Wow.
Well, that's because your family takes up a whole section.
It's true.
Did you load that like 10 minutes ago? You were like, I'm ready.
But I found that, like, I was bummed, but I'm also really excited at the fact that they're that full that they're not sure that they'll
That's
they'll
great.
have, an
I love
extra
it.
5 seats. So,
It's very cool.
yeah.
So, because of CCL and because of Sounders at Dallas on Sunday,
Right.
that's why I had Dallas on the brain.
Oh, yes.
There's probably a few players that we might get to see a bit more at S2 this season that are likely not going to be at S2 on Friday night because they're with the first team.
Right.
Or maybe with the first team for Dallas because
Okay.
they're going to, I'm sure,
I think
just
the weather's changing.
Yeah,
just
it's
a
getting
tad.
windy.
Slight breeze. Slight breeze out.
Just for folks at home, we're sitting underneath a covered thing, and there's a tarp above us. So if you hear the rustling, that's what that
That's
is.
Mark.
Mark taking off his
It's Mark's knickers.
balaclava.
Where is it?
His knickers?
His balaclava. Save water, drink wine. You know what's in wine?
Grapes.
Well, we're out. Thanks for producing the show this week, Adam.
All right. See you all later.
So that's Friday. Friday's big deal.
Yep.
So Wednesday at Chivas, and then let's
Hold on,
speculate.
really quickly though. If you are coming to S2 and you have not driven from Seattle to Tacoma on a Friday night, just plan on leaving around 3 o'clock, maybe 4.
For real.
For real, for serious. So I want people to be there, but be realistic. It is a drive.
Yeah.
Especially on a Friday night.
I left Kirkland at 2:30 on a Friday
Right.
to go back to the office in Tacoma, and I got there at 5:45.
To catch.
You were in Kirkland and you didn't call me?
And I was like, it was
Yeah.
last summer sometime, and I was like, huh.
To ferry to Bremerton,
Or Vashon.
Seriously.
Vashon would actually be... Yeah, so if you want to catch a ferry, take a ferry to Vashon, drive down Vashon. There's a ferry that goes from Vashon Island to Point Defiance, and then you can come from Point Defiance.
Probably faster.
It probably would be... Yeah.
And even if it's not faster, it looks
really
cool.
pretty.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Good advice.
Yep.
We should remind people of that later because we'll totally forget. Ourselves, actually.
I
Maybe
won't
not
forget
you.
because it'll take me...
We'll have to remind Mark. Hey, Mark. So, Sounders at Chivas on Wednesday.
Yes.
They're not playing LAFC.
They did 2 weeks. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a funny joke to tell you. I'll tell you later.
Okay. Is it about Mark?
It is. This time, it is not about
Okay.
Mark. So, it sounds like Sounders are, I don't want to say full speed, but you actually have that app, which I just don't even know what to say. Right? I mean,
Is that saying ham?
I don't even what just happened?
We just lost about 4 viewers.
Okay, so coming into Wednesday.
Wednesday.
No Jordan Morris,
2
obviously.
days.
No Victor Rodriguez.
If you're going to go to Guadalajara, you should plan on leaving early as well.
Yeah. You can in and out. I think you can just
There's
go
no in and out up here.
You can just go on Wednesday,
Really?
catch the game,
And then just...
and then no, you'd have to fly back the next morning, but you could do it.
Still, wow.
Yeah, so like I don't know, Guadalajara on a Wednesday, I don't know if that was good. I went out on a Thursday and it was definitely a scene. I had like an elote, which is
That's the corn, isn't it?
it's well, yeah.
That's cool.
And a beer that I was not supposed to have. And I was just walking down some boulevard, and then I realized that I couldn't eat the elote because I was holding a beer.
Because you needed 2 hands.
Yeah. Yeah. So I sat down, and then I was good. Anyway, Guadalajara is a pretty fun town. So
It's a foodie town, isn't it?
it is good food scene, cool business scene. Like it's a cool place to be. Got a lot of history, which is neat.
It's what, a solid 350 miles northwest of Mexico City?
I don't know if it's that far, but it might be.
Quite a bit,
Yeah,
though.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely like a direct shot. You could drive it. I don't know if I would drive it. The Puerto Vallarta drive's not that far. Thanks, Siri.
Guadalajara, Mexico is about 336 miles from Mexico City,
How many?
Mexico by car, or about 287 miles as the crow flies.
287 miles, Mark.
Okay.
As
That
the
was
crow
close.
flies.
That was close.
It's 336 miles by car.
Okay.
Or 287 miles.
Hey,
as
Good
the crow
estimate.
flies.
It's like you did research. Just
Like.
pretend.
Like.
You could have just run with this
Nah.
and then thrown me under the bus.
I just did research.
Let's throw you into the
Research.
Jeep later.
Cool.
Siri's my research assistant.
So no Jordan Morris, no Victor Rodriguez, and no Osvaldo Alonso, which we knew. But Leardom has been training.
Yes.
Kim. Traveled.
What about,
Kim traveled,
what
right?
about-
I don't want to talk to you anymore. Oh, what about Nuhu? You mean
Nuhu?
Nuhu?
Nuhu.
Shout out to Bread for observing that on the team roster, number 5, Nuhu. Nuhu is he's probably going to play.
Okay.
That guy's all right.
That guy is all right. He was
He's
doing-
okay.
He was doing some work. He was doing some work last week.
But I think people feel like the team's in good shape,
Yeah.
aside from the players that were obviously missing. Magnus Wolf-Eichram seems to be better. Again, traveled,
Yeah.
as far as we know. I think he may have been in one of those photos that people were trying to stealth shot in DFW. That guy, there are like 900 people that have strong opinions on what chant that ECS should sing for him. And there are some good options, and there are some really not at all good options.
I want to hear 2 good options, and then I
Okay.
want to hear 2 bad options.
I mean, Hungry Like the Wolf.
Where does that fall?
There's some play. I think
In
that can
your
be made.
opinion.
I think that can be a good option.
I think that's a good option.
Yeah, I
That's
think
the one that's
if
been-
you like organize it well, it needs a little bit of
You
rearrangement.
might need to rearrange,
But,
to
like,
pick up the tempo.
The number of people who, after the first time he played, the next day, the number of people who were like, okay, guys, I got this one. All of us just howl like wolves in
No.
the stadium.
That's on the bad.
And I was like,
I'm sorry,
A,
y'all.
you're not the first person to have come up with this idea in this country, probably.
Right.
And 2, no. But that's actually probably what's going to happen.
Well, no, but it'll be good
I-
background in the stadium.
I mean,
It will. Like, if the whole stadium wants to howl like wolves
if the whole stadium wants
and
to be
there's
in
an
on it,
ECS chant,
that goes
I
with
am
it,
all
like-
about that.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
It's like they're doing wolf rounds.
I was thinking Wolfman Jack, but he just howls, I guess. Doesn't
Yeah,
he?
there will be something there.
Yeah.
Because that dude's going to score some wicked goal,
Yeah.
and then everyone's going to lose their shit.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so Wednesday, I'm cautiously optimistic at what to expect.
You have hope.
Yeah, and I think
Are you belligerently hopeful?
I am belligerently hopeful. Which, as a grammar person, that's like one of the more awkward things that you could
Yes.
say. But whatever. Stephanie says to order us more beer.
Thanks, Stephanie.
I think
Or was
in
she talking about
context, She was
Ozzy?
actually talking about the broken players.
Damn it! I know. I just saw more beer, and
But if she
I
wants to order us
immediately
more
assumed.
beer, we could probably just send her Katie's phone number. She could text Katie her credit card information.
she probably could. She's probably right now calling the police on us instead.
I don't
What-
think police. Have
Why
songs
would I
about
be
wolves.
wetting my pants? Stephanie?
No one knows. Anyway, so let's make a prediction for Wednesday.
Are you going to start with me?
We're going to start with Adam.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be tied. I think it's going to be either 0-0 or 1-1.
Okay.
Based off of how hard the guys fought
Yeah.
here, and the fact that they will be facing twice as many Chivas fans, I think it's going to be a tight game. But I think we're going to ultimately move on.
I think they put enough pressure on the defense and the keeper
Right.
that, if anything, they're in not in his head. I think they're in the defense's head a little bit because they've realized that the Sounders can pressure them. They didn't have to play high line. Like, they had like a legit, pretty serious offense the other night. 1-1 was where I ended up the other day. I would be shocked if Chivas doesn't get a goal at home.
Right.
So I'd say 1-1. Mark.
First of all, I don't think their fans will be a factor. And I'm going to go with 2-1 Sounders.
2-1 Sounders.
And I do agree with you. There's no way they
Legitimately
don't.
living hopeless.
There's-
Hopeful.
There's no way they don't get a home goal.
Right.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Who scores first?
They do. Sounders second half. Let's not go there ever. Yeah. Someone
Yeah.
will probably tweet it like that morning. The players are all staying at this place. Here I am.
It's Courtyard Marriott.
It's not. It's the Courtyard by Marriott. Anyway, so
Comfort Suites. I got a whole list I could go down.
all right. So did you guys see the article?
No, I can't
from
read.
MLS about LAFC.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Are LAFC the best expansion team of all time?
Sure.
Oh, it's a real article in real life.
That MLS wrote?
It is on the MLS Soccer, Major League Soccer.com website.
MLS.
Is it Weeby or Weeb?
I'm going to go with Weeb. So, I mean, my short answer is no. And that's not really to be derogatory to them. But, like, there was this Chicago Fire team that was decent. They won an MLS Cup and, I believe, Open Cup their first year. That's like a decent... I mean, that sounds like maybe an okay season, right?
So you're saying it might be maybe, possibly premature.
Maybe a little.
After 2 games.
Maybe a little.
They haven't even played a home game.
They've played
No.
1/17 of their schedule. Come on.
So you say this might be a hot take.
And by hot take, I mean link bait. Clickbait, bait.
You still click the link.
I did.
It's his
I
job.
did click the link.
He's
I
doing
saw it on
research.
Greg Makos' Facebook earlier.
I saw that.
And I just
Hey,
had to
Siri,
click on
who's
it.
the best MLS expansion team of all time? The Seattle Sounders. Yeah, she sucks.
Fuck you, Siri.
She said the Crew are in first place right now.
You know, she'll remember that. She'll remember that when she
Takes over the world.
takes over the world and hunts down and kills you.
Can we just talk for a second about
The
the
laughing Alexa?
laughing Amazon Echoes?
that.
Like, I have to tell you, so I've worked with Amazon before as a public relations client, and Amazon does 2 things really well. One, they don't give a shit what the Seattle Times has to say.
Yeah.
Does anybody?
And two, SPD does. And 2, they don't comment unless they need to. And Amazon said, we don't know why this is happening. And that concerns me a large amount.
Our artificial intelligence.
But, like,
is now
think about
laughing,
the fact that,
and we don't know why.
like, it's kind of like when it's right.
Yeah,
But it's kind of
kinda.
like when people are like, the U.S. government would never do anything that you see other governments do, and you're like, okay. Think the Amazon, for Amazon, Google, whomever, pick a company. The products that they're working on behind the scenes right now are like, let's say conservatively 18 to 60 months out.
oh,
like,
yeah.
Amazon has a lab down in California where it's like, you know, they're behind the scenes
Make
shit. It's like when you heard the thing about drones appearing, like they'd been playing with that stuff for months.
By the time
at that
they got to
point.
the public,
By
it
the
had
time we
already
all
been.
heard about
Yeah.
I did not crash mine yesterday,
fact-
by the way.
The fact that Amazon's like, we totally don't know while these Alexas are laughing at you randomly from your home concerns me slightly. Not as much as the Boston Dynamics dog.
That was great.
Definitely not that much. But what the fuck?
I saw somebody tweet today about, you know, there is someone locked in a basement somewhere at iRobot trying to figure out how to get the vacuum to go upstairs.
And when that shit happens, Mark is like, I'm going to get a duplex. Like, that's what's holding you back right now, right?
I've never seen Graham's Roomba move.
It just sits there in the charger.
Yeah. I've never seen it move.
It's just waiting
The one day I see it move
for you to leave.
I might run out of the
Yeah,
apartment.
seriously. Oh my God, the iRobot is coming after
I'll be
me.
like, Tom, are you home? I'm coming to your place.
So, like, but seriously, cackling Alexa.
Ours
Like,
hasn't.
I kind of want someone to just say, "I figured out a hack and did this just to do,"
Yeah.
or like
a white hat person, just
or like
"It was
some
me, just having
employee
fun."
on their last day, or like something. Because if it's not any of those
Initiate
options,
laughing protocol.
but really,
Bye.
I peace out. Because if it's not, I'm like, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure our new apartment, I'll have a window that I could throw it directly from the second floor to the pool.
In the pool, yeah.
Probably
So,
not, because
I
your
watched-
windows are probably locked by Alexa,
I
so
will
you'll be screwed.
I will throw Alexa through the window.
No, Mark. I
Sorry,
can't do
Grim.
that.
Sorry, Grim. We're not getting our deposit back.
So I watched the Fate. What is it? Fate of the Furious.
Oh God,
movie?
I fell asleep
I watched
to that
that
the other
last night.
night.
I watched the extended version.
And you made
It's on
it through
Hulu.
the extended version?
It's like 2.5 hours or something. It was a lot of movie. And the best part is, and I'm just going to ruin this for anyone. I don't really care.
La 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 la. I haven't seen
Adam
any
is
of
like,
them.
my kids are watching it at home right now. Don't tell me. And I'm going to say which ones.
Yeah, well.
I was going to say.
They're watching it in multiple rooms on Hopper. They just keep running from room to room. Anyway, so there's this part where...
Is Hopper still a thing?
So what'd you think of the movie?
Tom, could you get to the point, please?
Welcome to
So
Tom
there's
Tells
this
a
part.
Story.
There's this part where the global hacking network,
Is that what it's called?
just wait, headed by Mark,
I headed it?
who is in charge of the global cyber crime organization in this movie. Come on, you got this one.
I don't know. I fell asleep like 30 minutes into the movie.
No clue.
We're just gonna keep on moving. So
Tell us, who was in charge?
Interpol.
You can't remember. Yeah, that's why you wanted Mark to say it.
Interpol.
no, it's not Interpol.
Donald Trump.
It is definitely not,
Not
Vin
Vin
Diesel.
Diesel.
How many South
Steve Buscemi.
African actresses do you know?
Charlize Theron.
Thank you. Anyway, so Charlize Theron,
Not Steve Buscemi.
they're in New York City and they hack like 1,000 cars that have driving ability.
Yeah, like Tesla type.
And they make a zombie joke, and then there's literally hundreds of cars chasing people down the street
empty
in New York
cars
City,
or
full
Full
cars.
cars that the drivers don't have the
There's
control.
taxis, and the drivers are jumping out. It's pretty out of control.
We already know what Google's planning.
And the best part is
Wow.
they show car dealerships, and the cars start up and just drive through the windows. And they clearly got the endorsement. It's a car movie. They got the endorsement of the car companies
Of course.
to show their specific models
Running people over.
being hacked and trying to kill
Perfect.
ludicrous.
What was that movie from the 80s? Thank you. Maximum
Great
Overdrive.
movie.
Maximum Overdrive.
And if
That's
you
where
haven't
we're
seen
headed.
Maximum Overdrive, I highly recommend it. The curling iron is the best part.
Any,
Ooh,
yes.
good call.
Anytime I
Steamroller.
see a semi that has that fang grill, the old school semi,
Yeah.
like the Peterbilt semis, I'm just like, oh fuck.
It's not like a clown though, so it's okay.
It
Or like
kinda
the
is.
Joker or the Green Goblin or whatever that was.
Still scary.
Emilio Estevez, yo.
That's right. He was young Emilio.
That was a good Stephen King.
Was that Stephen King?
Yeah, it's Stephen King.
Oh.
Which just shows
Is
you
it
how
83?
good.
83, you said?
Did you see the thing the other day where George R.R. Martin asked Stephen King how he writes so fast?
Seriously?
86.
Did you
Wow.
see the thing where George R.R. Martin asked Stephen King how he writes so fast?
No.
And I can't decide if this was an exercise in self-awareness by George R.R. Martin or he genuinely wanted to know how Stephen King is so efficient
Hey.
as a writer.
You've been doing this for a while.
Cocaine.
I don't know if I could say that that's not a thing. Stephen King is an amazing Twitter personality, by the way.
Is he?
He talks a ton of shit.
Oh, I should follow.
You should.
Yeah.
So...
Not to be confused with Stefan King.
Yeah. So... Just gonna
Glossing right over that one.
move right on. All right, so we've got Sounders on Wednesday.
No.
No.
Viewing at the AC
Oh, was that a thing?
Wednesday.
You know where else is having viewing?
No.
My couch.
This little bar that we happen to be doing a podcast
Oh wait, the
at.
Berliner.
Yeah.
Where is it again?
In Renton.
Ahead of the curve.
It is ahead of the curve.
It's ahead of the curve.
Labaro will be here
Third in Maine. Is that right?
at 6 p.m.
Something like that. Maybe 7th or 8th or 9th or Maine. We're not sure. Google it, yo.
I'm going to go with third.
Ask Siri.
Don't ask Siri.
Siri, where's the Berliner? Yeah, these are both Berliner Doner kebabs.
What the hell, Siri?
Say Berliner Pub.
You have to say Berliner Pub. They're really good.
Siri.
Except I think it's is it Doner or Donner? Like Donner and Blitzen. They're kebabs made out of.
Did your Siri just say check it
Reindeer?
out?
Yeah, she also had a different voice. Did you notice that?
Did you get it? Is your phone Skynet?
Yeah. That explains why I can't
Alexa and
connect to
Siri,
Wi-Fi or
Alexa
Bluetooth
and
now.
Siri have met.
Cool.
And-
Anyway,
Yes.
so instead of scaring the world with the rest of this show,
And let's talk about soccer things.
we could talk about soccer things. So
What else?
we've got Wednesday CCL.
Wednesday CCL.
Let's try that again.
No, Siri. Siri, go away.
What is your father's first and last name?
Siri is grilling Mark. Siri is asking Mark what his father's first and last name.
No.
This is good television, yo. So if you're still out there watching, let us know. Say hi. Ask us some questions
Anyway,
in the chat. Don't forget to subscribe.
So CCL at Chivas Wednesday, Friday S2T2
Yes.
at
7
Cheney
p.m.
Stadium.
It was like Wednesday, Friday.
You should put an appointment in there.
Montoya.
Okay.
Diego from which team? Botafogo.
Nobody at home can see what Siri is doing.
I don't even know what's happening right now. Anyway, so S2T2 Cheney Stadium.
Yes, 7 p.m.
You're going to be there working.
I'll be there.
Dave's going to be there working.
Yes.
I'm not working.
Come early for the 90-minute happy hour and a half.
It's going to be an interesting evening.
It is.
There are some, let's just say that there are rules that are different at Cheney Stadium.
There are rules that are, when you say different, do you mean not as strict, possibly?
I mean, yes.
Okay. I was there a couple days ago, and they were putting out some of the grass, and they had the mound was literally sitting
How's the
in
hot tub?
The mound was sitting in a parking lot.
How's the hot tub?
The hot tub? I didn't find.
Yeah,
the
in
hot
the middle of where the mound normally is.
Yeah, no, it was at the point when I was there. It was all flat, but the mound itself was sitting in the parking lot.
Have you not seen this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Why you give me that look?
Still is.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Actually, it's more like a waiting pool, but okay.
It is like a wading pool. That is fair. It's not like the pool in, what are they calling that stadium the Diamondbacks play in? Capital One?
Well, back in the day, it was Bank One ballpark.
Bank of something?
Is it?
So
Anyway, so that's
games
Friday.
at 7.
7 p.m. So there may or may not be tickets available.
I would check.
We could probably find that out right now. S2Tacoma.org.
If you come down early and aren't going to happy hour, I would recommend Red Hot is a good place to get some beer and some hot dogs. I would recommend near the stadium. There's not really a lot near the stadium for
No.
food, not yet.
There's a grocery store.
There's Fred Meyer's, across the way.
Is it plural? There's more than one?
Is it plural? Is it not plural?
There's just one.
There's a lot of Fred Meyer.
What's the capacity for soccer?
I think it's...
Excellent question, Mickey.
I don't actually know. Do you know?
I'm looking.
Capacity?
Siri, what is the capacity of Cheney Stadium for soccer?
I don't think Siri's going to know that. But, there's also some good coffee. Metronome Coffee or Bluebeard Coffee. If you go to Bluebeard Coffee, you'll be 2 blocks from my house. Anyway, I would recommend coming
Siri,
down.
what is the stadium capacity for Cheney Stadium?
I can't decide if this show just
6,500.
devolved or evolved
6,500, yeah.
right now.
6,500. Now, that's full. I don't think that they're going to be... there are going to be places that are not open, from what I understand, for soccer. They have an outfield seating area.
Wow,
like
6,500.
a party deck kind of a thing that I don't think they're opening.
It holds more than Providence Park.
Also a former baseball stadium.
Oh, there's that shade again.
Okay. So on Sunday, Sounders are at FC Dallas,
FC Dallas.
who have a draw this
Fuck
season.
FC Dallas.
And I'm curious to see if maybe depending on the result on Wednesday, if the Sounders continue to alter the MLS regular season lineup based on that.
When?
Like, assuming if we advance, they would rest the starters.
If we advance, when's the next game?
That's a great question that I
It's
don't
not-
think we really want to discuss.
It's the first week of April.
It is.
I was just wondering for resting purposes.
So the next round is the 3rd through the 5th,
Of April. Okay.
or the 10th through the 12th, if I
Okay.
remember correctly. And amusingly, as the rumor goes, depending on which seed the Sounders turn out to be, CenturyLink Field may or may not be available.
Fuck that. by the way.
Because there's a motocross event at CenturyLink Field on Saturday, April 7th.
Why can't they ruin Husky Stadium's field and not ours?
So, just knowing a little bit about motocross, there are obviously a number of days for load in, load out, but also I believe the riders all need a certain amount of times to have walked the course for like safety reasons and all sorts of other things. So like that could be Thursday.
Seriously.
So the rumors we have seen,
if we're on the later, if we
well, on the later we'd probably be fine.
okay, it's early,
If we're on the
it's earlier.
first leg, CenturyLink Field is probably not available.
But why is Statesville better than Husky Stadium?
Husky Stadium's not wide enough.
So Statesville is.
Husky Stadium
I mean,
isn't
by
a wide
better,
enough field.
Think
what
for
do you
of
mean
Down
by
Cheney.
better? You know what's not convenient?
Cheney Stadium.
Cheney Stadium.
Any of the
Yeah.
options that aren't CenturyLink.
Statesville's gonna suck.
Yeah, some like pro grass people will show up, and I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
This
so
is Seattle. Everybody's progress.
so is this the best round of applause you've ever gotten?
Now you're supposed to say thanks for
No,
the clap.
I had somebody that actually gave me a round of applause.
One person won.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got nothing.
Your hair looks great, windswept.
Team USA sled hockey just
Thanks.
scored 6 goals in the first period.
Wait, who did?
Team USA sled hockey at the Paralympics.
Nice.
6 goals. In the
Team USA sled hockey just scored
Verse,
6
Wow.
goals.
verse which team?
I will find out for you.
Doesn't matter. -6.
So Brego wants to know: are the Sounders coming home and then Dallas, or do you think they're going straight to?
I'm going to go with straight to Dallas.
closer.
Yeah.
Were I betting,
Yeah.
I'd say straight to Dallas.
Yeah. Get there, rest the legs.
You can't say for sure, but
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, why would you fly through Dallas there?
I mean, frankly, you've got to get to Dallas, and then it's going to take you at least a day and a half to get
Also, if
to
they're-
where FCD plays anyway, which is not Dallas. So,
is there
Well,
not
they'll have been used to trying to find the stadium because they just got.
is there not a Guadalajara flight?
I actually
from,
think that what?
is there not a Guadalajara flight from Salt Lake? I'm just trying to think if they're flying Delta, assuming they are.
They may not be
Korea.
flying Delta.
What?
Well, I assume since they were going to
Hey,
airport,
Emily,
they
welcome.
were.
You forgot to set your clock ahead, Emily. She says she's late.
She just showed up.
Yeah, I'm letting her
Cool.
know.
Hey, little PP.
Little pee-pee.
I do have to do that.
A little pee-pee.
Just a little bit.
Well, it's 8:45, so
All right.
almost your time. Anyway, so that's what's up in Sounders world
Land.
right now. And then we have a little bit of break from CCL.
Right.
By
After
the
this
way,
week.
Dave says they are flying to Dallas and practicing there.
There we go. And Dave knows.
Who's Dave?
Because
Dave who?
Dave is watching us.
He's better
From a
than you.
From a distance.
better
What did
than
you say? Dave is what?
Better than you.
Dave is blue and green.
From a distance, Dave looks blue and
So,
green.
Sounders Wednesday, Sounders Sunday, no Sounders for 2 weeks. And then Sounders the 31st of March at home, 7 p.m. Saturday night, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Montreal Impact.
Yes.
Wow.
For real.
If you tweeted that to them, they would respond to you in 2 languages. Because legally they are obligated to do so.
Are we gonna have like an Easter egg hunt in the stadium
Sure.
because it's the day before Easter?
Can I do it as a beer egg hunt?
I mean, we
I want to see the Sounders out there like,
could
hunting eggs. on the
do
field.
that.
That would be.
And then we have
Huh?
so then
Got it.
Sounders have, should they advance, CCL, and then some time again until the next match, which is away at Sporting Kansas City,
I've only had half a beer.
Burn ends.
otherwise known as the team of Brad Evans.
Burn ends FC.
I got nothing. I think I'm done. I'm going to tap out right now. So, any other questions?
Any other questions?
Any other
from-
questions?
We have a question from the audience. The audience says,
I can't see you, so
This is
I just see a large.
Allowed to laugh at the Timbers' shitty start before I jinx us.
"How much are you allowed to laugh at the Timbers' shitty
Yes.
start before
Do you want an official
it
answer?
jinxes
It's the Timbers. You just
the
laugh.
Sounders?"
Oh, good. So I can have all the Schadenfreude.
We all expected the Sounders to not be great until May. So
Well, traditionally it's
Timbers
June or
being
July.
garbage and losing 4-0 to the Red Bulls.
Wait, how did they do it against LAFC?
They Galaxy. And
Galaxy.
Galaxy? Oh, it was the Galaxy. That's right.
Yeah.
They lost.
Yeah. You're
Pretty bad.
allowed to laugh at the Timbers.
You know,
No jinxing worries.
I don't believe so.
how long are they on the road? Because aren't they starting the season off on the road because of their... No, Portland.
Portland's
yeah,
on
that's
the
right,
road.
they are, yeah.
5 on the road.
Yeah, because they've got their
But they also
renovation.
have Bridgewell, looking at, guys he should defend from, and then,
My favorite defender in the league, honestly.
I'm just going to put
Linda?
this on here for a minute.
Linda's son.
We're just going to keep playing that.
Linderson.
Linda.
Wow.
That might be the funniest damn story we've ever had on SonarFeed.
It's a really good story.
And ECS, and we'll be chanting that.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I'll make a tuple that just says Linda.
What else wasn't there something else we didn't talk about? Oh, we didn't talk about the fact that the NASL
Folded. Essentially.
ceases to exist.
who now?
I'm sorry, they're taking a break.
Wait, so
Speaking of which, we
fill
do
us
have...
in.
We
Fill
have,
us in.
We have Mickey.
NASL expert Mickey Turner.
Yeah. We have Mickey who now is writing a blog about all of it, which is fantastic. About all of the legal proceedings between SUM and MLS and NASL and yeah. Anybody that wanted to sue anybody.
So what's the URL, Mickey?
SoccerESQ.wordpress.com.
Soccer ESQ.
Would that stand for
WordPress.com.
Soccer Esquire?
Bill S. Preston, Esquire.
And Ted Theodore Logan.
Esquire.
Anyway, soccer ESQ.
.wordpress.com.
.wordpress.com.
Surely to be SoccerESQ, but I...
.com.
You'll get that redirect going. Cool. Anywho, I don't know if I have anything else funny to say except like if
Wait, did you say any who or did you say new who?
I said
Nuhu.
I did say anywho, but we'll take Nuhu.
Nuhu.
Nuhu. Have we asked Mark the Sonar Feed questions yet?
Yeah, I've been a guest twice.
Have we asked you recently?
Are you that desperate for
right.
filling?
No,
time?
but there's new questions that we didn't ask, and I really still want to know. Historical figure, bouncy house, for real. And don't say Lincoln,
I was just gonna say
because
that,
that's
dude,
some
just to
shit.
fuck with you.
Like,
Historic. Define historical.
like, not the guy who plays Spider-Man now.
Anthony Bourdain.
Anthony Bourdain.
Buddha.
That is a good answer.
That would be my answer.
And really, I'd be like, "Yo, Tony, can we get out of this fucking thing and go get some pho?"
He would probably like that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Hit me
Well,
with another one.
What about you?
Hit me with another one.
historical. Oh, we're going to keep asking you questions?
Do it.
No, I want to hear Tom's historical.
Historical
Bouncy
figure,
house
bouncy
figure.
house?
Or hysterical figure.
Hysterical figure, bouncy house?
Britney Spears. Leave Britney Spears alone guy.
That is actually a really good answer. What's his name? Chris
I can't
something?
remember.
That's good.
That is good.
Hysterical.
You should write that. He is hysterical.
Yeah.
Chris Crocker.
Yes.
Good call.
By the way,
Google's your friend.
Bourdain would murder me if he heard that I called him a historical figure.
He actually would. He'd be like, no fuff for you.
He'd be that gif.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
He'd make me go to Olive Garden or Apple Bureau. I mean,
I'm going to
Applebee's.
say, man, so many good answers. I'm going with Helen of Troy.
Thank you for not saying Helen Keller.
Without.
I don't even have a response for you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for viewing Sonar Feed.
Please
episode
like and subscribe.
episode 235. Fuck you, Ugo.
He's probably out of his Uber now, so he's not watching anymore.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here next week. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.